Hey there, Nation. Welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. We are proud to present our very first episode of Blood for the Blood God, which is our limited series that we'll be running on this channel that is dedicated to the building, assembling, painting, and playing of our brand new Chaos Legion of Khorne army that we are assembling for our Warhammer Fantasy Battle reports for the Warhammer the Golden Age. As you can see on this table here, we have 3,000 points of Chaos Legion of Khorne. It's a mixture of both Chaos Warriors as well as Chaos Demons. And as you can see there, we actually got a lot of base coating done on these miniatures so far. And this is the army that we're building. This is currently exactly at 3,000 points. And the funny thing about this army is that it's actually quite small for a 3,000 point army. And the reason why is because in a Chaos Legion of Khorne, the points are very concentrated to actually a couple of units as well. So this is the full 3,000 points we're planning on fielding for this army. As you can see, we've got one unit already fully painted up. And we have some more units that we need to paint up as well. So here's a little bit of a look here of the different units that we have and the miniatures that we have in it. We might have mentioned this before in other channels, but our goal on this channel is to actually have 4 Chaos Legion armies, and each Chaos Legion army being mono-themed for a specific Chaos God. We so far have a Chaos Legion army of Sneech, as well as with Nurgle, and the other ones that we need left are for Slaanesh as well as Khorne, and this one is the army that is dedicated to Khorne. This army, by the way, is called the Pilgrims of the Bloodwind Spoil, is what the name of this 3,000 point army is. And as you can see there, it's a combination of various miniatures from different miniatures and different games and stuff to kind of create this army as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about exactly each of the different units. We're going to talk about exactly what they're consisting of, and we got the miniatures for all of them as well. So that being said, let's get this video on a roll. Alright, so first of all, let's go and talk about the composition of the army. As you can see, the army is actually made up of several units. So first of all, let's go and talk about this one real quick. So up here in the front, we have a unit of 20 bloodletters of Khorne. These are Khorne demons. As you can see there, they're all brightly red because we got done spray painting those guys with red. We have a huge unit of Chaos Warriors, what this unit is. These are 31 Chaos Warriors, making up this huge unit as well. And right in the middle, of course, we have our Chaos Spawn. This is the actual, what's it called? Korgorath, I believe is what it's called, from Warhammer Age of Sigmar. But we're using that for Scylla Agrafim, so we're using him for our hero for our army. Right next to them is another unit here. This unit is a unit of, I believe it's 24 Chosen, is what we have for this one. As you can see, these guys are all painted gold right now for their base color, because we're going to use it to pick up the gold detail. Right in the back is a unit of 8 Chaos Knights, as well as a warrior on a exalted hero on a demonic mount. So we have that in the back. Next up we have our Herald of Khorne proxy. This is going to be Skulltaker. This is our proxy for Skulltakers. And actually it's an old 4th edition Khorne Bloodthirster is what it was. So you can see here, this is what the Bloodthirster of Khorne used to look like back in the day. We took off the wing on this one, so that way it's a little bit smaller. But the scale of it's perfect for it to be Skulltaker. And this guy will actually be going inside of this unit here, Bloodletters, as we'll be using that for as well. So that's our Herald of Khorne Skulltaker, the special character. Back here we have 3 Blood Crushers of Khorne, which are Bloodletters riding, Khorne Juggernauts. We have Karanak, the Hound of Khorne, a 3-headed dog that hunts down wizards, is another special character for this army. And then finally in the back here we have 5 Flesh Hounds of Khorne as well. So we have some demon dogs, because these things look really, really awesome as well. And that is basically what's going to consist of this army for 3,000 points worth of Chaos Legion of Khorne. And those are the units that we'll have. So now that we're done talking about the units, let's go and talk about the individual miniatures that make up this army. Alright, so let's go and talk about the miniatures that make up this army that we're using for the Pilgrims of the Bloodwind Spoil. First of all, just to let you guys know, a bulk of this army is actually made up of 2 different sets of miniatures. The first one is the original set of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. When Warhammer Age of Sigmar first came out, we did buy a box set for my gaming group and I, and that's where most of these guys come from. So you can see these guys are Blood Reavers, I believe is what they're called. They're basically like Chaos Marauders on steroids for the different Khorne army. So most of these guys, that's where these guys come from. They're all Blood Reavers for the most part. We also have a Slaughter Priest right here as well. The Slaughter Priest is kind of like a unit champion we're using for this army as well. And then this one, of course, is the Khorne from Warhammer Age of Sigmar as well. So that's the miniatures that make up this army for the most part. And right over here is the Blood Stoker, I believe who that is, or it's a Blood Secretor. I think Blood Secretor is what it is. That's also the character as well. So another character that's in this unit. And this unit here, this unit of Chosen, this one is also from the Warhammer Age of Sigmar line for the most part as well. As you can see, these guys are called Blood Warriors, so we got a lot of Blood Warriors intermixed with the group. We also have a Skull Grinder, I believe what it's called. That's the guy from Warhammer Age of Sigmar, carries a anvil around hooked up to a chain. This is the Mighty Chaos Lord of Khorne with his Fleshhound. Then we have a Blood Stoker, I think is what they're called. Those are the guys with the giant battle. These are Battle Center Bear that we're using for this guy as well. And to fill up the units, you can see here, we zoom in real close, you can see these are actually some Khorne Berserkers. I actually had a bunch of Khorne Berserker Space Marines from back in the day. I managed to come across a couple of them, bought them second hand. And I just took off the arms of them and just replaced them with different Warriors of Chaos arms to make them look like Chosen. These miniatures are much larger in scale to the Blood Reavers, so these guys would be our Chaos Warriors, and these guys here would be our Chosen, because I've always wanted to see what it's like to run a large unit of Chosen. So these guys look really, really cool as well. So that's the very first box set of miniatures. First box of miniatures came from Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and that's where most of these guys came from. Another box that we also used as well was the Wrath and Rapture box set that came out a year ago. It was basically a box that contained both Slaanesh and Khorne models, and that's what we used to build the second half of our army for our demons. So this unit here is a unit of 20 Blood Letters. 10 of these guys came from that Wrath and Rapture box set. We also managed to get a couple of Blood Letters as well to round up to an even 20. That's where also these Fleshhounds came from, as well as Karanak, as well as these 3 Blood Crushers. They came from that Wrath and Rapture box set. So that's where half of the demonic units from that army came from as well to make it, which is a really good value, because with the demons from that box set, the Slaanesh demons, we're able to use that to create our 3,000 point Chaos Legion Slaanesh army. We'll talk about that at a later time. We also have, of course, I already talked about this guy already. I've already had this miniature lying around since the 90s, which is the 4th edition Bloodthirster, which we're going to use for Skull Taker. And if you're wondering who these guys back here are, these guys are actually a combination of a couple things. First of all, these knights here in the black with the green crest helms, the 3 of them. There's the third guy back there. Those guys actually come from the Battle Masters box set, which is a game that I talked about this at quite a bit of length in previous videos. It was a Milton Bradley game that was licensed by Games Workshop to create basically a little miniature 4x4 table where you actually had Empire versus Forces of Chaos. You got orcs and goblins, beastmen, all kinds of miniatures in that unit. And those box sets of Battle Masters laid out the core of what the armies I would end up using in my studio, in my gaming group and stuff. So that's where those knights came from as well. We also have a couple of 4th edition Chaos Knight miniatures from the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So these guys are actually made out of pewter. This guy here is actually just a quick custom-made job. Half of his upper torso is Ingram Van Horstman, the old 4th edition miniature. I managed to find his upper body that I mount on a pair of Bretonnian Knight legs and put him on a Chaos Steed. This guy here is actually an Imperial Knight that I actually, let's see if I can focus up there. He's actually an Imperial Knight for the standard bearer here. I just cut off the head and replaced it with a Chaos Warrior head, as well as the arms, making a Battle Center bearer. And this guy here, this guy riding the giant Fleshhound, that is a special character from the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. His name is Arbal the Destroyer. He was supposed to be the personal champion of Khorne. He's a really cool looking miniature. He used to ride a giant Fleshhound. This was originally what the Fleshhound of Khorne looked like before they decided to replace it with Karanak. But yeah, that's what he originally looked like. He was a special character as well. And so I decided to use him as the Exalted Hero mounted on a Bloodthirster, on a demonic mount. And those are the miniatures that make up this army as well. So yeah, that is the unit miniatures that consist of this army. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Pilgrims of the Bloodwind Spoil. It is our 3,000 point Chaos Legion of Khorne army. This is the next army that we'll be working on in our studio to get these guys painted up and fielded in battle as quickly as we possibly can, because this thing looks pretty cool. Estimating anywhere between 3 to 4 months worth of work is what I'm thinking is probably going to take me, depending on the kind of projects I already have backlogged that I'm working on as well for other games and the battle reports. But yeah, I've been really looking forward to painting this army up. I'm going to need a lot of gold and red paint in order to make this army really pop, really stand out. But at the same time, though, the demons will be pretty easy to paint up. Marauders will also be kind of the Blooders will be easy to paint up as well. These Chosen, though, they're going to be much more difficult because of all the gold filigree they have in their armor. And that unit's already painted up, ready to go as well. So I'm really looking forward to putting this project together as well. It's going to take us about 4 months to get it fielded, I think. About 4 months worth of work. And it's going to look awesome when it's done, at least we hope. And then we'll have 3 Chaos Legions dedicated to 3 of the Chaos Gods. And that'll be really, really awesome as well. So yeah, that's good to do for this one, you guys. That concludes the very first episode of Blood for the Blood God. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest, greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good to do for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, you guys.